Hey Kim. Hey Kim. I'm just diving into this. I think some people may have been confused because I put Tuesday the 12th when it's in fact today is the 13th. For some reason I'm a day behind on my mental calendar here. But I'm going to go through this presentation, so feel free to jump in with any questions as we go, and we'll just go from there. So let me turn on the recording for Illuminate. Yeah, let's see if I can shoot some video. Hey, it's working. Excellent. Okay, perfect. How you doing, Kim? Everything all right in your neck of the woods? All right, let me make Chris a moderator so that he can advance the slides. And we will be moving on forward. Okay, so for Module 4, which technically kicked off yesterday, the learning objectives for this module are really going to focus on the online teacher and a lot of the elements of what you do as an online teacher. So a lot of this will become very useful, and a lot of your skill sets that you already have as a teacher in the classroom will actually play in nicely here. So the focused objectives for this particular module are some things to pay attention to are, by the end of this unit, be able to plan, design, and incorporate strategies to encourage active learning by the students. And it's the I=C standard. You're going to create... Kim, you may want to mute your mic. Or maybe I have... Hang on one second. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go back to talking. So hopefully that will work out better. In this module, you're going to create an online course syllabus that gives the course objectives, course expectations, course communication, etc. Hi, Anne. In the context of this module, you're going to assess your readiness for online teaching, but you're also going to look at student readiness for online learning and go through an learning style inventory that assesses your own or a student's preparation for online learning. You'll understand the multiple roles that an online facilitator or online teacher fulfills, and then establish a contingency plan for student-to-teacher communication. So by the end of this, you'll have worked through activities that support all of these things, including the I=C standard. And a lot of this really will ultimately draw upon your experience that you have as a classroom teacher, but also give you it'll equip you with some tools that will be very helpful when you teach online, whether it's in higher education or with K-12 students. So with the Module 4, there are 4 assignments within this module. There's a syllabus, and basically you're going to take a syllabus template that's already available, and I'll explain that in just a second. It's pass, no pass. You're going to basically modify it for your own needs. Now you can customize it a bit, you can make it pretty, which I usually want to make something a little bit better. But you have a template to work from. 4.2 and 4.3 are, you answer the questions regarding the questions that are posed in 4.2 and 4.3 in the context of the Module 4 discussion. And that's, I believe, in one single discussion, and we'll look at that in just a moment. And then you have an assignment that's for your portfolio, and this is the 4 roles of the online coach. And this is a multi-step assignment where you basically do some initial reflection, you'll do some open evaluation on a Google Doc, and then you'll ultimately create a document that indicates where you are at in the process of mastering the 4 roles, and you'll use that as a reflection piece for your portfolio. So everything should ultimately be done by March 25th. For the 4.2, 4.3 discussion, initial post will be expected by March 20th. And if you have a question, I'll make sure I feel free to throw them in the chat box, and I'll answer them as we get to them. So 4.1. Perfect. 4.1, designing your online syllabus, pass, no pass. So 1, make sure you review all the requirements for this particular assignment prior to starting. And then there's a template. So the template is, let's see if I can do a little bit of application sharing. The template is really all done for you ahead of time. And now I need to log in, so just bear with me here. I'm logging in as if I'm a student. And our template for module 4.1, it's an RTF file, so it should open up in pretty much anything you need. All right, there we go. So you're going to go through the process of designing your online syllabus. Make sure you read the articles, and then there's a sample one here, the online syllabus RTF file. And I may have to switch applications, bear with me here. Okay. So this is the syllabus that you'll ultimately be working with, and excuse the black line at the top there. This gives you a pretty straightforward template exercise. The blue text is the text that you'll want to replace, and this is just an exercise designed for you to work on developing a syllabus. As I said before, where is it? Okay. As I said before, a lot of what you're doing in the classroom will ultimately really support what you're doing here. So these are just kind of the common elements that you'll want in your online syllabus. You'll notice that in our haiku class, that ultimately these are contained on a page. So there's 2 ways you can approach that. But there you go. So basically take that template, fill it in. My recommendation is to not spend too much time on this. This is really meant to be an exercise. And there we go. Whiteboard. There we go. Okay, so remember, one thing to think about, it's not going into your portfolio, so do exercise your judgment on how you allocate your time. Your portfolio assignments are ultimately the ones that are reviewed in the portfolio process. It's, again, not to state that these other ones are not important, because they are. But if you're going to have to pick and choose how you allocate your time, spend more of it on your portfolio assignment. 4.2, you're going to go through some exercises in 4.2 that really touch on student preparation or preparedness for being an online learner. Contrary to popular belief, not every student is equipped to learn online. You might have found that out already. What we ultimately have found that a lot of the students that end up online are the students that have struggled in a traditional classroom, and moving them online isn't necessarily going to ultimately solve the problems that they have, lack of organization, and so forth. So ultimately, LMS name, Learning Management System. So Moodle, Haiku is one, Blackboard, Desire to Learn, depending on, I forget which one you were implementing. No, if you are not, no, you don't need to pick one. If you're not already using one, then just skip that section. If you are using one in the context of your district for next year, or your district or school, then make sure that you're preparing your syllabus around the learning management system and providing those resources that will help the students. I would say skip that if you're not actually using one right now. It would just be an exercise in futility. But that's not ultimately a learning management system, but you may want to reference those. That's probably a good place to incorporate it. Okay, so make sure you read the materials, complete the online readiness survey, the student online readiness survey. It's a good exercise for you to go through, and actually it's a good resource for you to incorporate into your classes as an initial module. And then answer this question right here in your response to the discussion forum 4.4. So what do you feel to be the two most important factors in determining student readiness to learn online, and why? So that's one prong of the question that you're going to answer. And then the next will be all answered here under faculty preparedness. So what do you feel are the most important or more important factors that contribute to you yourself being ready to teach online? So two things that really tie into one combined assignment. If I go back to application sharing really quickly, jump back over here, you'll see that's listed under, I'm sorry, it's 4.2 and 4.3 discussion. And so make sure you answer those in your responses. More philosophical, it could be based upon the research and the readings that you've done, but it's definitely, there's a lot of other factors that play into students being prepared to learn online, including motivation. So make sure you answer those questions. It's more of a fun discussion, I think. Okay, so then the last thing that we have is the 4.4, the 4 roles of the online coach. This is your portfolio assignment, and in this it touches on the 4 roles of the online coach, which are, bear with me here. Did I have this pulled up? All these nice tabs, but I'm working on different computers left and right. There we go. So the 4 roles that you ultimately are working on are the instructor, social director, which basically facilitating communication among students for the project, program manager, focusing on time management, basically helping to pace the students through the class, and then the technician, which is obviously troubleshooting. Even with any group, no matter who you're working with, you're going to end up having to help diagnose. If you're fortunate enough to have a situation where your school is able to staff a help desk or something like that, you're stoked. But most schools are not. So it falls generally to a combination of a teacher and the technology coordinator or someone else helping to kind of troubleshoot these problems. So for this exercise, make sure you read all of the materials. Super important. Look at the samples that are in the portfolios from other people. So when I go into Haiku again and look at the samples that people have done, pop those open. There we go. If you look at, let's look at Jenny Thomas's here. 4 roles of the online coach. And you can kind of see some examples of the reflection piece that she did for this. And then also how she mapped out this particular thing. It's really more of a reflection on the roles of the teacher, where you're at in terms of gaining those skills, and then how are you going to further enhance your skill set. So what are you going to do? You guys are already on the path. You're learning to become an online teacher. But what are some of the other aspects of this that will ultimately make you be more prepared to facilitate an online class? And again, this is really, if you look at this from a portfolio standpoint, it's two-pronged approach. It is looking at, do you understand the components? And then two, you're reflecting on it and developing a plan for you to be able to to become versed in those skill sets. Okay. There's a form, and that form that she showed up there, it's a graphic organizer just like Jenny had posted up there. Make sure you follow the steps outlined in the directions. There's like 7 steps, including completing a Google Doc online. And if I jump back here, I'll show you what that looks like in our course. That way you'll not be surprised when you pop up on a Google Doc. So there's a Google Doc link here. It's kind of hidden where my cursor is pointing. If I click that, I think maybe I need to bold that. Essentially, you go in here, you could read through what other people have done, and what you're going to do is find your initials at the bottom, and basically the same information that you put on here, bear with me, that you put on your chart that you fill out, you're going to pop it on over here. And this is a good thing to look at and see what other people have done. So for example, look at what the other people are talking about. What are the skills needed for an instructor? What are the organizational skills I have to basically achieve? So review that information prior to completing yours. Again, reflection pieces more than anything. And let's close this out. Again, timelines for everything, March 25th, so just under 2 weeks from now. After this particular week, we actually move into a module that will stretch out 3 weeks because of spring break for you guys. So March 25th, make sure you have the syllabus, pass, no pass. Make sure that you've completed your module discussions. Initial post to the 2 questions that are posed in 4.2 and 4.3. And then your final peer responses by March 25th. And then the final posting to your wiki project, a wiki project page, to due on March 25th. And that's the bulk of what you'll be working on over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to open the floor up for questions. Yes, and that is perfectly appropriate. We use modules as well. I don't usually use weeks, simply because I'm in the independent study frame of mind where everything is module-based. So yes, absolutely fine. Again, I would say that ultimately your goal with the syllabus is to own it and make it your syllabus that you would want to use in your classes in the future. Okay, other questions? Cut and paste from Word? Yeah, that's not a problem. Or you could even take that template file, revise it, and then save it as a doc file or a PDF and upload it, however you want to. Ultimately, this is yours. I can almost open any Yeah, that's perfect. I can almost open any file format, so I'm not so concerned about me. Perfect. If you can save as a PDF, in general, I prefer PDFs simply because almost everybody has Adobe Reader installed on their computer, and it is a lot more flexible than RTF files. Okay, questions. Anne, do you have any questions? I'm sorry, Kim, do you have any questions? I read Anne's name and thought Kim. Okay, well, for the next 4 days, Wednesday through Saturday, I will be at the Q conference. But if you would like to chat next week, feel free to just email me. I might be a little slow to respond. I'm going. Oop. Let me try talking again. See if that works. There we go. Let's see if this works. There we go. I think I freed up some bandwidth. There we go. Okay, so I will be at the Q conference in Palm Springs tomorrow through Saturday. I may be a bit slow to respond. I am planning to have most of my grading from Module 3 done tonight. At least that's my plan, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Otherwise, I will be grading while I'm at the conference. But if you would like to chat about this particular module, make sure that you get in touch with me. And let me just put that on there. Most of you guys have my information in the class. There's my phone number and my Skype ID. I think that you're getting more proficient. That's what I'm going to go with. No, seriously though, I know that initially a lot of things it's new, it's different, it's challenging, but eventually you're getting better. All right, so if you guys want to chat with me, let me know. We'll schedule a time to chat. The terrible thing for me is that I'm typically putting my kids eating dinner with my little ones and putting them to bed. So usually between 5:30 and 8 o'clock are bad. But if you do want to chat, let me know. We'll schedule a time and we'll go from there. Thanks, Anne. Thanks for showing up, Kim, and anybody else who watches the recording. Awesome. If you have questions, please send me an email, and have yourself a great day.